Imagine a land so rich, so abundant in resources, that it could feed the entire world. A land where the soil beneath your feet holds treasures beyond imagination. Gold, diamonds, coltan, and cobalt. Yet this same land is drenched in blood, torn apart by conflict, and exploited by those who should protect it. This is the Democratic Republic of Congo, a nation that has become the battleground for a war that is not just about territory, but about power, greed, and the very soul of Africa. And right now, as we speak, the tension between Rwanda and the DRC has reached a breaking point. But this is not just their story. This is our story. This is Africa's story. And if you think you know what's happening, think again. Because what's unfolding in the heart of Africa will leave you angry and demanding answers. Let's begin. Just this past weekend, the DRC made a move that sent shockwaves across the region. They recalled their embassy staff from Kigali, Rwanda's capital. But this wasn't just a routine diplomatic decision. It was a desperate cry for help. The DRC's foreign ministry issued a statement revealing the decision to withdraw diplomats and instructing the Rwandan embassy in Kinshasa to cease all diplomatic activities within 48 hours. This is not just a diplomatic spat. It's a full-blown crisis, and it's happening right now. But why? Why now? The answer lies in the M23 rebels, a group that has been wreaking havoc in the eastern part of the DRC. The DRC claims that Rwanda is backing these rebels, providing them with weapons, training, and support. Rwanda, on the other hand, denies these allegations and accuses the DRC of supporting the FDLR, a militia group linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide.
That diplomatically there is now a problem between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the accusations are that the Rwandese administration is using M23 to destabilize DRC and also to take resources. But I believe that if we are to look at the issue in an objective manner, this is not the time to apportion blame. This is the time to ask ourselves, how can we stabilize that area? And that will require, among other things, that all the combatants are called to a round table. The argument, for example, that comes from the Kinshasa administration that they cannot have a face-to-face meeting with M23 is without merit.
These mutual accusations have turned the border between these two nations into a powder keg, ready to explode at any moment. And explode it has. But let's not just scratch the surface. To understand this conflict, we need to go back in time. The M23 rebels are not a new phenomenon. They first emerged in 2012, claiming to fight for the rights of the Tutsi ethnic group in the DRC. But their actions have been anything but noble. They've been accused of atrocities, including killings, rapes, and forced recruitment of child soldiers. And now, they've captured Goma, the capital of North Kivu province, plunging the region into chaos. Rwanda's involvement in this conflict is complex. On one hand, they deny supporting the M23. On the other, they have a vested interest in the eastern DRC, where many ethnic Tutsis live. Rwanda has long argued that the DRC government has failed to protect these communities, leaving them vulnerable to attacks from other armed groups. But is this just a cover for Rwanda's own ambitions in the region? Many believe so. The human cost of this conflict is staggering. Over 500,000 people have fled Goma as fighting rages on. The city is now a ghost town, with its streets empty and its people scattered. The humanitarian crisis is worsening by the day, with reports of widespread human rights abuses, including killings, rapes, and forced military recruitment. The world watches but does little to intervene. And let's not forget the role of foreign powers in this crisis.
There's a rejection of African standby force by the imperialist forces in the West because they benefit out of the instability of DRC and Africa in particular. If there is any country that was messed up right from the beginning, was DRC. They have been destabilizing that country for many years because they want those minerals in the DRC. They even created illegal landing strips to land in DRC, to steal directly from DRC and leave. There's nothing revolutionary about M23. Yes, we understand the dynamics of those who are found in that region and the leadership of DRC ill-treating them. But what is important is we cannot allow black-on-black violence. In whose interest is that? Why do you take up arms to kill other fellow Africans?
The DRC is rich in minerals like coltan and cobalt, essential for the production of smartphones, electric cars, and other modern technologies. These resources have made the DRC a target for exploitation by foreign companies and governments. The M23 rebels, backed by Rwanda, are seen by many as proxies for these foreign interests, fighting not for the people of the DRC, but for control of its resources. But this is not just about Rwanda and the DRC. This is about Africa as a whole. Where is the African Union in all of this? Why haven't African leaders come together to resolve this crisis? The truth is, Africa's leaders have failed. They've failed to unite, failed to prioritize peace, and failed to protect their people. Instead, they've allowed foreign powers to divide and rule, pitting African nations against each other for their own gain.
The
children of Congo have been dying for years. Several other conflicts, such as in Sudan, exist on the continent. We would have liked to see the African Union generate the strength and all the strategies necessary to support its states so that they can find peace. We will not even talk about us here in the Sahel. For nearly 10 years, the Sahel has been the scene of international terrorism. But we see no support from these organizations to find a solution to this problem. Worse, a few days ago, a foreign country in Africa openly announced that it had supported and participated in a cowardly, terrorist, and barbaric attack against the forces of our confederation. The African Union did not say a word to condemn this interference. The African Union did not say a word to condemn this interference of a foreign state in Africa in the internal affairs of our states. I would like them to hear this shout and get out of their silence and take action so that the youth can believe in the African Union.
Take the East African Community, EAC, for example. Kenya, as the current chair, has called for an emergency meeting to address the crisis. But will this lead to any real action? Or will it be just another talk shop with no concrete results? The people of the DRC deserve more than empty promises. They deserve peace, security, and a government that truly represents their interests. And what about the international community? The United Nations has a peacekeeping mission in the DRC known as MONUSCO. But what has it achieved? The mission has been criticized for its inability to protect civilians and for its failure to address the root causes of the conflict. Meanwhile, foreign powers continue to exploit the DRC's resources, fueling the very conflict they claim to want to end.
For the last 2 days, on Monday and today this morning, I spoke with the President of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role. And he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo. That these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time He says, no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are the. He keeps on. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about. Maybe they should have done that exactly for which they have been issuing threats. They should have done it to clean up the mess in Eastern Congo, or to fight back those who...
The hypocrisy is staggering. The same countries that preach about human rights and democracy are the ones arming rebel groups and propping up corrupt governments. They talk about peace, but their actions speak louder than words. They want control, not justice. They want profit, not peace. So what must be done? First, the African Union must step up. It's time for African leaders to take responsibility for their continent. They must come together, not as individual nations, but as a united front to address the root causes of this conflict. This means tackling corruption, promoting good governance, and ensuring that the wealth of the DRC benefits its people, not foreign powers. Second, the international community must be held accountable. The exploitation of the DRC's resources must end. Foreign companies and governments must be forced to adhere to ethical standards, ensuring that their activities do not fuel conflict or harm local communities. And finally, the people of the DRC must be given a voice. They must be included in the peace process, not just as victims, but as active participants. Their needs, their concerns, and their aspirations must be at the center of any solution. Ladies and gentlemen, the crisis in the DRC is not just a regional issue. It's a global one. It's a stark reminder of the challenges Africa faces, but also of the potential it holds. The DRC is a country rich in resources, culture, and talent, but its people have been denied the peace and prosperity they deserve. It's time for change. It's time for action. And it starts with us. We must demand more from our leaders, from the international community, and from ourselves. We must stand together as Africans and say enough is enough. The time for division, exploitation, and conflict is over. The time for unity, justice, and peace is now. If you believe in a better future for Africa, if you believe in the power of unity and the strength of our people, then like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can build the Africa we want.